Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I am coming at you today with a top 10 movies of 2025. I'm very excited to film this. I love talking about movies. I am an avid Letterboxd user. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, let me know and I can drop my username in the comments below. But I love watching movies, I love going to the movies, and I love talking about movies. So I was super excited to film this video. I have tried to film this video twice before. This is my third attempt. Both times the video file got corrupted. I don't know if it's because I was filming on my laptop and I needed to update my laptop. I don't know. We're updating it. I'm gonna film this on my iPad and hopefully we won't have any problems. Fingers crossed. If you're seeing this, it worked. So yeah, I do have two honorable mentions I'm going to talk about very briefly. And let me pull up my Letterboxd. Those two honorable mentions are, first is Nuremberg from director, wait, let me pull up my, because I honestly forget. James Vanderbilt. In post-war Germany, an American psychiatrist must determine whether Nazi prisoners are fit to go on trial for war crimes, and finds himself in a complex battle of intellect and ethics with Hermann Göring, Hitler's right-hand man. It stars Russell Crowe, Rami Malek, Michael Shannon, Leo Woodall, John Slattery, and Richard E. Grant, among some other notable names. I loved this film. It was, I really enjoy historical dramas, and I don't know, it just surprised me. So it was a pleasantly surprising watch that I really didn't hear a lot about. I thought the cinematography was great, and it had really great dialogue, which was a standout for me. Another honorable mention I have is one that I was really wanting to see, and I'm glad I finally got to see before the year was over, and I think it was released in the fall time, and that is Oliver Hermanus, his film The History of Sound, starring Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. This was such a beautiful film. It was quiet yet loud in terms of the story and plot. The visuals and sound design was quiet, but so impactful, I should say. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching this and just experiencing these two men. I'll give you the synopsis. In 1917, two young music students attending the Boston Conservatory bond over their mutual love of folk music. They reconnect a few years later, embarking on a song-collecting trip in the backwaters of Maine. The sound editing and sound design in this film is obviously very important, and it definitely delivered. It had a beautiful story. It like breaks your heart, then like puts it back together by the end, and it really stuck with me. And I think that it definitely deserves some award buzz. I haven't seen any, but I think it is one worthy of it if it was to be in the conversation. Now moving on to my top 10. So at number 10, I have Hard Eyes, which was released earlier this year around Valentine's Day. And basically, it's kind of like Scream meets Halloween. I always yawn when I make these videos. When the Hard Eyes killer strikes Seattle, a pair of coworkers pulling overtime on Valentine's Day are mistaken for a couple by the elusive couple hunting killer. Now they must spend the most romantic night of the year running for their lives. It had great kills, it was entertaining, and honestly, I could see it becoming a franchise. Like, I just had so much fun with it, and it was an original concept in terms of the holiday and having these two like coworkers who are not actually a romantic couple be chased by the killer who believes they are a romantic couple. And I believe it was Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt were the two main actors. I also thought like the killer, the mask was cool. The story behind why they were killing was cool. I just really, really enjoyed that film, and I could see myself watching it again and again around the Valentine's season. At number 9, we're kind of switching gears a little bit. And for me, my number 9 is Freakier Friday. It just, honestly, I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's just nostalgia for me. I grew up watching the original, and this one just delivered on some of those nostalgic pieces, and I just really loved seeing Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis kind of back in those roles of Anna and Tess. And the actual on-location shoots in Los Angeles were really cool to see because they were kind of throwbacks to the original, but they kept it modern, kept it fresh with some updated spots. So, yeah, that was a highlight for me this year. At number 8, we have a Netflix original actually in The Life List. This was based on a book, I believe, starring Sophia Carson, directed by Adam Brooks. When her mother sends her on a quest to complete a teenage bucket list, a young woman uncovers family secrets, finds romance, and rediscovers herself. It's not a award-winning film in terms of reinventing the wheel in originality, but it spoke to me. I felt like it evoked emotion from me, and I watched it multiple times. I could definitely see this becoming a comfort film for me, and I really love Sophia Carson. I like a lot of her Netflix originals that she's been in, and yeah, I don't know, I liked it. Like, I have nothing else to say, but I liked it, and I liked it a lot, so much that it was on my year-end list. At number 7, we have the conclusion to a long-standing franchise, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. This really is a love letter to action films. You can really tell in this film that Tom Cruise really gave it his all. And, you know, his heart and soul went into this franchise. And I think it was a satisfying conclusion. I loved seeing all of the places they went. The action sequences were bigger and better than they've ever been. And it really was a love letter to action films and action filmmaking. And quite literally a symphonic from start to finish visually. And, you know, it has a long runtime, but I think it's paced very well, that it utilizes every, you know, minute of the film in a purposeful way. At number 6, we have a movie that I think is going to be on a lot of people's year-end lists. Well, actually, maybe not, but it is on mine, and that is Black Bag, which is directed by Steven Soderbergh, starring Cate Blanchett. If anyone knows me, I love Cate Blanchett. She's one of my favorite actresses, and I will always be seated for one of her films. And this is kind of like a spy espionage movie. When intelligence agent Catherine Woodhouse is suspected of betraying the nation, her husband, also a legendary agent, faces the ultimate test of whether to be loyal to his marriage or his country. It is sultry, it's sleek, and it's just rich in plot and in visuals and in pacing. It's very lean at like 90 minutes. And the cinematography in this film is beautiful. It's just like a perfect spy thriller that I feel like it really didn't have a lot of competition this year in terms of that genre, and it just knocked it out of the park. I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and after I saw it, it came out, I want to say early in the year. I knew that it was gonna be on my year-end list. Now we're getting into my top 5. So at number 5, I have Ryan Coogler's Sinners. This was just a cinematic experience. It's, getting a lot of award buzz, trying to leave their troubled lives behind. Twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Starring the incomparable Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld. It has romance, it has horror, it has suspense, it has beautiful world building and period building, and the music, the soundtrack, it all is just works so beautifully together in encapsulating such a original, special, well done film. And for that, is why it made it on my top five. So yeah. Coming in at number 4, we have one that is on here, honestly, for personal connection and enjoyment, even though it's not as good as its predecessor, and that is Wicked for Good. John M. Chu's latest Wicked installment, the ending to the world-renowned story starring Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, Cynthia Erivo. Ariana was a powerhouse in this. She was a standout. Her performance was amazing. And the visuals, the world of Oz was just so beautiful. I I just loved it. I can recognize it wasn't a great film in terms of its predecessor, but it's a film that I will still revisit. And has some rewatchability for me, and for that, is really why it was so high on my list. Okay, top 3. So coming in at number 3, we have After the Hun by Luca Guadagnino. I know this wasn't too highly enjoyed by critics and audiences alike, but I really liked it. It felt like a slow burn to me. It's about a college professor who finds herself at a personal and professional crossroads when a star pupil levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, and a dark secret from her own past threatens to come to light. Starring Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, Ayo Edebiri, as well as, I always forget his name, Michael Stuhlbarg. It was a slow burn. It was rooted in life experience, and I just couldn't look away. It was quite a long movie, coming in at around 140 minutes, but I think what I enjoyed so much about it is it had so many philosophical themes, and they were beautifully paired with the story and in moving the plot along. And really, the film, in its essence, is kind of about human morality and how it becomes a game of perception, rather than actions. And I think it left me with a lot to think about afterwards, which is why I enjoyed it so much. Coming in at number 2 is a quieter film I didn't hear much about, but oh, did it leave a lasting impression on me in terms of the performance, and the story, and that is Plain Clothes by Carmen Emmy. In 1990s New York, an undercover police officer receives an assignment to lure and arrest gay men. However, he's surprised to discover a scintillating connection with one of his targets. As their secret connection deepens, an internal pressure to deliver arrests intensifies. He finds himself torn between duty and desire. This was just such a heartbreaking film, and I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it yet, but I highly recommend it if you're interested in, the synopsis and in kind of that LGBTQ plus representation in cinema. It's one that I thoroughly enjoyed and one that I highly recommend. And now for my number 1 film of the year. It is directed by Chloe Zhao, and it is Hamnet. It really is the powerful story of love and loss that inspired the creation of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet. This movie was a tragedy and a romance, 2 things that blend so beautifully together. It had a stellar cast that, in my opinion, gave some of their career best performances, with Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, Emily Watson, Noah Jupe, his younger brother who played Hamnet, Jacoby Jupe, who was such an amazing child actor. I just love this film oh so much. I think the lust and lushness of the nature, it like acted as its own character. It just really, in its core, is the shows the power and the love between families, regardless of time, regardless of circumstance, regardless of hardships experienced. And it kind of goes through that, and takes you through the tragedy of this family, and you know the beauty that comes from it, and the bond that grows even stronger. So yeah, those are my top 10 movies of the year. Let me know your guys' top movies of the year. I would love to hear. Leave them in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in my next video.